feel like Mike Jordan, give me the rock and I'm scoring. Hey, came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Yeah, they know that we ain't the same. 402, we rap the game. I told them this ain't a game.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Big Leagues Chicago. We have got a packed episode. You know me, I'm Rick. You got Jose here. You got the Red Rifle Jack here in his all black. You got Jose repping Seattle with his Kraken jersey on. You love it. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. We got a packed episode, like I said. We're gonna start off with a quick crosstown convo, maybe something about a trade, and then we're gonna go into Bears breakdown, talk about their loss against the Jets, get into a little Hawks talk with Jack here. Then after that, go into the C-Red segment, talk Bulls, and then we're gonna end it off with 4 stars of the week. All right, boys, let's get into it. Jack, what happened? Crosstown convo. Let's get into it.
It's plain and simple. The guy that's been the leader on the South Side for last 9+ years, Jose Abreu, signs a 3-year deal to be the new first baseman of the Houston Astros. A 3-year deal for $60 million. It stings, and Jose's only gotten this deal once in his career, and that being, I think, his second contract in his career. So from the White Sox, and that being said, Houston was willing to offer him. It's a World Series roster, and they just solidified the fact that they've got a guy that's going to play pretty much 162 games for them, and he's going to hit plus 300. Mm-hmm. And for a guy who always has a slow start because it's cold in Chicago, he's going to be in Houston, and they're in an indoor park, so it's not going to matter. So I like his odds of his April and May being a little bit hotter than they have been in the White Sox uniform. But that is why we're wearing all black. I am wearing my Sox jersey, but it's more of a funeral rather than a I'm pretty distraught over it, not gonna lie.
Yeah, man, it is a sad day for Sox fans. I saw Alex tweet something as well. And you guys have talked about it before on 3 Up, 3 Down, like how much you guys think that Jose Abreu on the Sox has been probably one of the best players on that team. What he brings in the locker room. He's won an MVP with you guys. Like, it was supposed to be a World Series roster last year for you guys. Obviously, that didn't work out. But John in the comments here, Jose Abreu was supposed to retire White Sox player. F you, Jerry. I hope he wins an MVP again with the Astros. Jack, do you kind of agree with what John's saying here?
Hey, at least you got a Clevenger, right? Somebody who just came off 2 times John surgeries. I mean, hey, you have that going.
Hey, relax. He's a guy that if he bounced back and liked the idea of a prove it deal. We'll get there in a second, though. Closing out on Jose Abreu, I wish this man all the best. I think he's going to go guarantee himself 3 World Series contending years in Houston. The man's 36 years old. He's got to look after his fingers, and his fingers need a ring on it. And I think going to Houston is the best way to get it done for him. And as Jonathan is saying in the chat, the White Sox are focused on Andrew Vaughn being the everyday first baseman for this team, and potentially with Gavin Sheets being the backup. But moving on to as Tony, my boy Tony, Jose has been hinting at the White Sox did sign Mike Clevenger to a 1-year prove it deal. It sounded like the numbers look like it's going to be $12 million. And maybe a little bit less guaranteed, but the potential to, I think, make $12 million on the season. It's a guy that's going to replace the innings that you saw Johnny Cueto throw for this team. And the fact is, it's a pretty solid replacement. And I can't complain with it. Yes, Tony, he has had some injuries with his throwing elbow and a
couple TJs, no big deal.
But if you can hope for a back-to-back 100+ season, I think he had 100 innings this last season. And you did see him in the playoffs. He did get roughed up for a home run at one point, but I do feel confident with Mike Clevenger filling in that spot for Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, there you go. And are you guys? Did Cueto sign with another team? Has he signed?
No,
at
he
all
has
or
not signed with another team. He did post a picture of him and Dusty Baker and a few guys on the Reds way back when, and he's maybe hinting at an offer from Houston. I think their starting pitching or an ace, Justin Verlander, is he's taken meetings. He was in LA for most recent, so he could be on the move. And with that being said, I think they've got guys like Framber Valdez and Co. And you saw Christian Javier take the perfect game, combined no hitter.
Yeah.
Houston's got some young arms that they can rely on, and adding maybe Johnny Cueto to take in the fifth spot for what ended up being their A spot in Verlander. I think they'd be okay, given the fact that those young arms look so good in the playoffs and throughout the year. But there will be an episode of 3 Up, 3 Down, free agency breakdown, free agency talk of what's happened so far, what we expect for what Aaron Judge may land, what we expect for Trey Turner, all the big free agents. We will talk, obviously, a little Jose Abreu. This just happened, and he being really the real biggest free agent that's signed so far in this free agency period. But we will have a 3 Up, 3 Down episode coming out this week.
I guess I want to ask John in the comments. I know John's in the comments listening. How hurt are you, John? Someone like Jose Abreu should have been part of that championship, I guess, potential team, right? That the Sox were supposed to put out. He was just like Anthony Rizzo was part of that rebuild before they won in 2016, and he finally won it. That was a full circle moment, right? That's when you start off with a team with a team that's building. You go through the hardships, through the dog days, and get you to the championship. Abreu should have been that same guy for the White Sox. Same position, first baseman, guy who was your glue, guy who was a leader of that clubhouse. He had to have been
that anchor of the
exactly
team.
that literally that anchor, and for him to now be gone and going to the Astros. At that, the Astros, the villains of the AL. The rich keep on getting richer, it seems like.
But that's why Jack's wearing all black right now.
Right,
that's
going
why.
to the Astros, he says worse than a breakup. I believe it.
Yeah. This, and I remember hopping on 3 Up, 3 Down and being like, I don't want Jose Abreu, for the Cubs at least, right? And he went to the Astros. He's obviously going to contribute, like Jack said. He's probably going to have a few years there of like championship baseball. So good for him. Obviously, John and Jack very hurt. I'm sure
hurt.
Alex is feeling it as well. So, do you have anything on Crosstown Convo? I think the Cubs have stayed quiet. They've been linked to a couple guys, but that's about it.
That's the only thing I'm kind of happy about in this situation. I mean, it fucking sucks that it's Houston, and that was kind of just another kind of sword to the chest in another direction. But he's not going to the Cubs, so I am happy to know that didn't happen, as there was speculation that the Cubs were going to be involved in his free agency sweepstakes. And maybe they were. We'll find out. Well, maybe we won't. But Jose Abreu, Houston Astros, he will. And funny enough, and of course, fucking Houston's first game at home, raising the banner versus this White Sox team. So Jose's is going to be on the other side of it. He's not going to get any recognition for it, but he'll get a little taste of what a winning ball club looks like under a winning manager, Dusty Baker, who looks like he's returning for another season. So good for Jose in that sense. Wish him all the best. Sorry we couldn't put the team that you deserved in front of him. And, I think the fans will definitely let the front office and ownership know about this in the upcoming season. But this was what to be expected in the reality of it.
Yep, and we got John here in the comments. Abreu filled the shoes of Paul Konerko, who you learned to love just as much as PK. He deserved to stay, but also he does deserve a ring. I think all Sox fans agree with that. He does deserve a ring. It hurts to say, but he has a better chance to win with the Astros. And John agrees with you. He'd prefer him to go to Houston over the Cubs. And he's even going to buy an Astros jersey with
John. I got to go against John. That you can't buy the crap from Houston. This shit's just the same color as throw up. It's fucking cheaters.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. All right, let's move on to Bears breakdown. Gonna put on Jose, if you want to put on the overlay, the one we got set up for everyone here watching us here on the live stream. Bears lose 5 in a row this week to a Mike White Jets team. 5 in a row, 3-9 on the season, and not only did they lose in a bad fashion, but there was a lot of injuries. So just to kind of go over the game, in the first quarter, Jets led 7-3 after Garrett Wilson 8-yard touchdown reception from Mike White, and then Cairo Santos hit a field goal. Second quarter, the Bears were in the lead for a second. Pringle with a 4-yard touchdown reception from Siemian. You had another Garrett Wilson touchdown reception for 54 yards, and then Zerlane came in with a field goal to make it 17-10 Jets going into halftime. Then third quarter, basically that's where they lost it. Elijah Moore had a 22-yard touchdown reception. Ty Johnson with a 32-yard rushing touchdown. And that was basically all she wrote. There was no scoring in the fourth. Pretty much that was the game, right? So let's bad clan here. We all knew the Bears were going to lose, but it sucks about the injuries 100%. And let's kind of start off with Siemian starting over Peterman. There was a lot of stuff going on before the game. An hour and a half before the game, Justin Fields was rolled out. Then it was like, okay, Siemian is going to start. Then he hurts his oblique during warmups, and that's when I think Jay Glazer said, hey, Nathan Peterman's going to come in to start. Then they started throwing on the sidelines. I don't know what exactly happened. Either way, Siemian ended up starting. And even though he looked good in that first quarter, first drive, Siemian is who he is. You know, he's a backup quarterback. He's been a backup quarterback. He started for the Denver Broncos. He looked good. Kyle from Only Football said he was going to be pretty good. And he looked good in that first drive, but that was kind of it. So, Jose, what are your thoughts on like Siemian and that game, I guess?
Well, first, I was one of the guys, you know, I'm working for the Bears broadcast. You know, we heard right away that Siemian was going to be out, right? And then Peterman was going to be out. I'm like, whoa, this is okay, whatever. It's happened. Pretty weird, right? Pretty odd because he was warming up, and I don't know where he gets hurt. And then it wasn't that much longer afterwards when you know I was hearing again, well, he's warming up again. Yeah. So right when Peterman was being named already as a starter, you then started to hear, well, Siemian is working out, so there is a possibility that he might play. So it's like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Did he really get hurt? Are the Bears trying to psych out the Jets with Trevor Siemian? Like, what is this, right? Because I'm telling you, it wasn't that much long after I texted you guys Siemian out, I started hearing, well, he is warming up. So maybe he tweaked something. Maybe he just felt uncomfortable. Whatever the case was, I knew going in that this team didn't have a chance. And it was very apparent. Look, Trevor Siemian, not bad. You know, I said it right away. Like in the first half, he was making other wide receivers that we don't normally get to see with Justin Fields as quarterback look good. Like Pringle had a touchdown. Claypool started having some catches, right? But with that being said, you've seen and how much this team really misses Justin Fields. Really, I mean, the fact that we only scored 10 points after weeks of scoring almost 30 plus. Yeah. You know, it's crazy. And it shows how talented, how for real Justin Fields is. Not trying to go to Justin Fields. I know the questions about Siemian, right? But it's hard not to. I think as a backup, Siemian has experience. He's, you know, he's not a bad backup, but I think we, you know, as the caption says, what do we learn about the Bears? I think we learned a lot. And that's you know, this is how we look, guys, this is how we look with the subpar quarterback.
We suck without him.
Exactly. We just suck without him, basically.
Well, I learned a lot. I mean, I feel like we all fucking knew this. You know, the second you remove Eddie Jackson from that secondary, you really have no one back there. Yes, you know, Jalen Johnson played, right?
He did, yeah.
You know, and he is still a good corner, but the fact is the defense is awful, and the offense, once you throw, you know, kind of you lose Justin Fields, a guy who clearly is a mobile quarterback and is starting to find his way with his arm. I'm not, totally sold there yet, but all the upside is there in the world. And then you throw in kind of your standard typical quarterback in Trevor Siemian, not someone who's mobile. He's going to make a few throws that are, standard typical of a backup quarterback. He's going to miss a few throws that are typical of a backup quarterback. I think exactly what happened. Everything that happened on Sunday was like pretty expected. And I know it's the Jets, and no one can kind of really say they're real. And I know they had that quarterback situation, but it seems like Mike White is able to piece together a solid performance each year. But I think so. To John's point, and it'll get up onto the screen, but I'm seeing it here a little bit quicker. Siemian is straight cheeks. If you threw Dalton, into this formation like he was last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was, I still see the similar result. I mean, a guy that can't run, a guy that can throw a little bit, but has really no receiving core to throw to. I know, yes, Claypool had a little bit of a better game, but the fact is that Byron Pringle is catching touchdown passes for us. That's a fucking issue. I know he was decent at Kansas City, but like it's just not going to get it done for this Bears team. And it's unfortunate that Darnell Mooney was kind of rolled up on the, I think it was a running play to Montgomery or whatever. But it's kind of the reality of it. And the Bears had been kind of lucky in the sense of not losing anyone to some serious injuries. And it sounds like we're going to lose, obviously with the news that Mooney's out for the year. It sounds like we'll lose Eddie Jackson for quite a while with him being in a walking boot from what we're seeing. So I don't know. I just think I just wasn't surprised. That's basically my point.
And that's kind of what I was going to say too. I wasn't too surprised, although I thought maybe with the Getsy play calling, maybe it would have been a little bit better. And it's just like, again, what did we learn about the Bears without Fields? We suck without Fields. We can't provide the line protection for a pocket passer. We don't have the talented wide receiver. Does this say more about Getsy's play calling, Siemian's playing, the line, or the talent we have at wide receiver? There's just so many questions, right, that need to be answered. And Siemian isn't like I guess I'd compare a backup quarterback to like Chase Daniel, who was the backup for Trubisky. He, when he came in those couple games in 2018 when Trubisky was out, the Bears were winning games and he was able to manage it. Siemian,
he's serviceable enough,
and the thing is too, the Jets are very good on defense. They're very, very good on defense. So again, I was glad that Fields didn't play, but I mean, the line is terrible. The wide receivers are terrible. Without Fields, this team is boring. It's almost like a Houston Texans team. They just can't get any offense going. Bad Clan here. Real quick, sorry. Bad Clan here in the comments. I feel as Fields should switch to running back and we should draft the quarterback because Fields has a hard time hitting his targets, but he sure can run. Now, here's one of the things I will say to that comment.
No.
Fields is a very good rushing quarterback. The thing is, he needs to develop that pass game. He can't develop it with being behind that offensive line that we have. Speaking of injuries, Riley Reif, Larry Borum injured. Tevin Jenkins was injured as well last week. Didn't come in. And I think what's his name? Lucas Patrick as well is still injured. And when you have Mustafa and I forget the other guy's name, it's going to be a bad day. So I don't agree with that. Don't switch Fields to running back. He's going to be a good quarterback. He's Lamar Jackson without the development of the passing game yet. That's what it is. Jose, you agree?
I agree 100%. He could develop into a Lamar Jackson type of player for sure. Like you said, just needs to develop. Look, the Bears, guys, believe it or not, although we were talking about this earlier, right? Chicago sports right now sucks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I'm actually very content with the Bears as they stand currently, presently, whatever you want to say. I'm happy. Why? Because if you look, we have the most cap space out of every team next year. We're currently sitting at number 2 in the draft. Continue to lose. We lost Mooney. It's Mooney,
Post-
look, Mooney's loss is a significant loss.
Yep.
I would be 100% okay with sitting Justin Fields the rest of the way. 100%. Let him get healthy, even if he's not even that hurt. Let him rest. Let him sit. Lose. Because I want to stay number 2. At number 2, if we can stay at number 2, we could pick up somebody like Will Anderson Jr. coming out of Alabama, who's a number 1 ranked prospect, defensive end, edge rusher.
Defensive end, yeah.
This guy is legit, right? We
Mm-hmm.
can get someone like him, bolster up that defensive line. He's cheaper. We got rid of Robert Quinn for that reason.
Yep.
We're going to continue to lose games.
I disagree with the targeted player. I see this team. I think they'll get this second pick, and I think like Rick, I think we'll get into a little bit earlier. I think they trade it.
Yeah.
They don't need a defensive end at this point in time, as you just said. It's offensive line and wide receiver.
I get it.
They need a defensive end. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying I still think this team trades down, and if there's an offensive lineman that's pretty good at 12, 13, I think they take that and they take the extra pick for next year.
I get it, and that goes against everything I said. Is I want them to focus on offense, right? I get it, but when you're at number 1, number 2, when you're literally top 3, you get best available. You have to. You get whoever's the best available there, and if you're number 2, that's tempting, right? Because this guy should be number 1, but Houston needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
So they're more than likely going to go quarterback.
Yeah.
If this was any other team with a quarterback, that guy's going number 1. And then you don't want that to be a generational type player and that you missed out on. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say sit Fields, because you're just going to get this guy hurt. Rick, you said it earlier about the offensive line, but Mooney's loss is a much bigger loss than we all think. He has 16 more catches and nearly 300 more receiving yards than any other wide receiver on that team.
Yeah. He's number 1. He's number
1.
Yeah.
He's a leading receiver with 40 catches and 493 yards. Take that off. He's not going to be there the rest of the season. What is Justin Fields going to do? I get Chase Claypool supposed to be that guy, but now that Mooney's gone, who do you think they're going to be? Who do you think they're going to be going after?
Yeah,
it's going to be Chase Claypool. So then you have to rely on someone like Cole Kmet. And as you can see, he's going to be up and down. He's not going to have games like he has been all season long.
So, and I said this last week, right? Like, don't start Fields by any means possible. The thing I'm kind of leaning towards now, right, is if he missed this week against the Jets, if he misses next week against the Packers, I'm cool with it. And then we go into the bye week. He's got 3, almost 4 weeks of resting, of healing. But if he wants to come back week 15 and finish out the last 4 weeks and develop a more pass first approach to develop his pocket passing to become a more complete quarterback, I would be down. But again, I wouldn't be opposed to him sitting the rest of the year if it's a lingering issue. Again, I said this last week. I don't need him, our first franchise looking quarterback in forever, to go down because of a lingering shoulder injury, right? But this does beg a great question: is what do you do with a pick if you are a top 3, top 4 pick? Do you trade it, or do you pick somebody? Because exactly like Bad Clan saying, our O-line has been whacked for years now. Do we get an offensive line in the first round where we have struck out tremendously? Do we go defense? Do we trade it for a halt? Because a team who needs a quarterback, especially with this year's draft being so quarterback heavy, will give up a lot. We're talking about possibly a Carolina that needs a quarterback. They need something at quarterback. We're looking possibly a Seahawks team that may make the playoffs, but do they have talent that we can get for trading that and getting a little lower in the draft order? And Poles has already fielded a lot of rookies that he's picked last year, and they're already producing. So I trust Poles a little bit more in the later rounds than I would a lot of other GMs. So depending on what we can get, and I think he should take all the calls. He should weigh all his options for this, possibly getting a haul for that number 2, 3, 4 pick. So Jose, you or Jack, you said trade the pick.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the train of trading it.
And Jose, you're not on the trade the pick. You're like, let's get that defensive end from Alabama. And
I mean,
I could see both sides. Go ahead.
It's either that or an offensive lineman, right?
I just don't see. I'm not a huge college football guy, but I watch it enough that I feel like I would have heard enough about this guy from Alabama to be of the likes of like a Myles Garrett or a Chase Young. I don't think he's that type of a generational talent at the end. I don't know. Again, like I said, it's a little bit of a uneducated opinion there, but I just don't see that being. If a team is more hungry to get themselves into a position to have that second pick, I think teams are going to pay handsomely for it, and I think the Bears would be stupid not to listen to it. And I think it'll be interesting. Yes, we keep talking about how much money they've got. How aggressive are they going to spend that money? How immediate are they going to spend that money? So I mean, that's why I think throughout the whole season, and as we've been saying, I think the real excitement for Bears fans comes the second free agency opens. And I think, like we said, we need to protect Justin Fields. And the fact is, yes, he can run and it's great, but he's like the third most attempts for rushing in the league, in all of, including running backs. I mean, that's just not a sustainable thing for a quarterback. Especially in this league where people are stronger, people are faster, and people are hitting hard. So I get worried about that, and I get worried about the durability. I mean, you can tell by the third quarter of most of these games, he's holding and squinting with his hamstring and groins, and you can tell his legs are pretty tired by the end of it. And I know you saw, it's kind of funny. I was watching the game, Sunday night's game, and it was like, don't break. Fields had 151 in that one game?
The rushing yards?
Yeah.
100 or something like that, 140.
I couldn't remember if it was more or less than Hurts. I was just hoping Hurts wouldn't pass whatever Fields' career rushing per game was.
Yeah, he was close.
So I don't know, but I think you got to protect the guy. I know, yes, losing Darnell Mooney, huge loss. Still not sold on the fact that he's a guy that is a wide receiver, especially your wide receiver one that you go and win a Super Bowl with. So I think, the Fields, if he can continue to perform and play without being injured, get out there, prove to some of these receivers that he needs someone like the likes of a Devontae Adams or a DeAndre Hopkins if he's not cheating and taking steroids, and having a guy that is truly an elite receiver with him. And if you put those together, I mean, you are going to see some pretty special stuff. I mean, you're seeing it this year with Tua and Tyreek Hill. I mean, that connection has been insane.
And John agrees with you. He's saying trade the pick to get an offensive lineman outside of top 5 and get another pick with it. Good move there, I think, when you really think about it. And then he goes to say that I think the Bears sign OBJ. By the way, John's feeling a little under the weather. Everybody send their positive vibes to John. John, we hope you feel better soon so you could hop on.
He must be under the weather if he thinks OBJ.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that there's just no reason to do that.
There really isn't. I mean,
there's no reason for OBJ to want to come here to play with Trevor Siemian the rest of the way. No,
or Peterman, he's going to be Daniel Jones in New York.
Exactly.
But yeah, I just, we'll see what happens with the pick. It's just a great question to kind of mull over. And again, we have all the Bears have the cap space too, but they can get a huge haul for that top 4, top 5 pick. Who knows what's going to happen? Let's kind of go back into the game here. Montgomery looks so good. He averaged almost 6 yards a carry. And we also, what did John say? They can offer him years and money unless he wants a ring chase every year. I don't know. Oh, he meant next season.
For what? Wait, but
you gotta clarify that. You got to clarify that, John.
But not even that. Then you bring him in as a number 1 wide receiver if you do all that. And why? Why OBJ is the number 1? I mean, he's a best right now at this time of his career. After that injury, he's at best number 2. Not going to be your number 1, John. You do not do that.
He's not a number 1 anymore. He really isn't. Like you said, not after the injury. So, but you never know. Yeah, Montgomery. This game looked really good. It was a huge game for Montgomery. I mean, he didn't score, but it was a huge game for him. You know, he almost had six yards of carry. And then Darrington Evans, someone who I had no idea about, kind of came alive as another running back, because I guess Khalil Herbert is not looking good. Yeah, he was not looking good because he got passed over by Evans, a rookie, undrafted. I'm assuming, but he looked good. He had a couple receptions, had a couple rushes, but Montgomery just continues to prove that he is just a dog in the trenches. You know, you run for almost 6 yards. I think he had a total of was it almost 80 yards, 79 yards. Evans had 34 yards with 9 rushes. The rushing from the running backs looked good. And then Claypool had 2 receptions, 51 yards. Pringle, two receptions, 12 yards and a touchdown. Monty again got very involved in that offense because who else was gonna do it, right? 3 receptions, 34 yards. So I wanted to bring him into it. Do the Bears sign him back for next year?
Absolutely, I
David
would.
Montgomery.
Hell yeah. 100%.
Just to clarify quickly, Khalil Herbert's on the IR with dealing with hip issues.
I'm sorry.
This season.
You're right. I wasn't thinking about Herbert. I was thinking of Ebner. He's not in the good graces of the coaching staff right now. Yeah. But we got Eric in here. Let's bring him in. What's up, Eric? Let's go. Hey, he just got out. What happened?
Hold on, real quick. Hold on.
Podcast.
Eric.
Not only is going here in regionally in Chicago, but it's also going across the pond in England too, as well. As Jack Hiller said, he's from England. He's a Man City fan, so I don't know how you feel about that one, Jack.
No, not great. I'll tell you that. Not great.
Yeah, he's been in the comments on Twitch, so we appreciate him watching.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I gave him his shout out. I appreciate him coming on. We will definitely, hopefully, link up. He's in England. It's already at midnight, and this dude is on my show, so you know damn well the EAFP podcast not only is going regionally, but now it's going across the pond. So that's always good to see.
Going international, baby.
Going internationally, bro. That's how
real quick.
To be.
Real quick, because John's in the comments talking reckless. I just want to make sure I don't forget. We don't forget about our partner,
John.
No. You know me. All right. You don't come at Tony Football. Right? Let me tell you something, John. Who else is available? It doesn't matter who else is available. You don't get anybody just because there's nobody to get. All right. If there's nobody in free agency good enough to sign as number one, then you develop one through the draft. Point blank period, and wait until the year after to get one free agency. Come on, man.
Come on, man. All right, Jose, you were talking about Montgomery. Are the Bears going to sign him next year? Eric, I'll go to you after Jose, after Tony Football. Sorry, after Tony Football.
Don't give him that credit, bro. Don't even do it. Don't type him up. He doesn't deserve it.
Let me take this, Brown. Let me take this out just so we can see our boys down there. All right, let me real quick. But yes, I would sign Montgomery, and the only reason why is because him compared with Khalil Herbert right now, these two guys are the best running backs. Combine them into one, fuse them. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, put on the Pintora earrings, fuse them together. Those two guys together alone are better than any running back in this league. You pay Montgomery. Herbert's still on that rookie deal. It won't cost you. It's not like both these guys are going to cost you together a lot, right?
Yeah.
Sign up for another 2 or 3 years. I don't know. I'm just saying, but do it because you've seen what these guys are and what they can be together, mixed with Fields, matched up with Fields. This team's gonna be scary. Once Fields develop that passing game, you have 3 legit runners who could just score and get yards left and right. I mean, we've seen it, guys. Why stop it? Let it roll. Let it roll.
Eric, so you I'm assuming you watched the game. I don't know. Were you watching the World Cup? I think you were watching the World Cup.
So I had the World Cup. At that time that the Bears were playing, I was watching Spain versus Germany, right? And I think that game was just a very beautiful watch. It was on the main TV. The Bears was on the bottom on mute. I really didn't miss out as much. I just seen that beautiful pass from Trevor Siemian to Pringle, and that was about it. That I really paid attention to. I'm not going to lie. I mean, but I did keep an eye on it up until the game was over.
And the reason I ask is because we had a guy, Darrington Evans, kind of emerge as another running back, and he looked good. So that's why I asked, like, do they bring Monty back? Khalil Herbert's in the IR. He looked good in place of Montgomery sometimes. So what do you think? Should they bring back Monty?
Look, let let me put it this way. When we had Jordan Howard, right? He was a 1,000-yard rusher with John Fox. Apparently, Matt Nagy didn't seem too fond of him. They drafted David Montgomery. We had 1 year of both of them together, but the difference is at the moment that David Montgomery showed up and had more snaps, was you see the reasoning why behind it, right? There was another guy that was capable of doing Jordan Howard's job where you don't have to pay him that money. Yep. You fast forward it now where, last year where David Montgomery and his backup was Khalil Herbert. Khalil Herbert did the exact same thing. You can see that David Montgomery, it's a still reliable running back too, right? RB1 perfectly and everything. But Khalil Herbert gives you something completely different. You fast forward. Now, you don't have that. Even though you just said whatever his name was, Evans, as one, he looked decent, cool, great. But he didn't give me the same oomph that David Montgomery did when he was a backup for Jordan Howard and now Khalil Herbert as a backup for David Montgomery. He didn't give me that excitement where I'm like, okay, we have something here, right? Same thing happened with Forte too as well. Thank you, John. Forte did. I think Jordan Howard was Forte's backup, if I'm not mistaken, too, as well. Like the Bears can find running backs, right?
Yes.
That's the cream of the crop. Not only finding linebackers and running backs and then sometimes here and there some defensive linemen, but they can find running backs. I personally wouldn't sign David Montgomery because as I've seen so far the last couple of weeks, David Montgomery in the last 4 years has been taking a lot of hits, and he's been looking slower and slower each and every week. He's been effective. He's been giving you those hard runs, those hard yards, those 5, 6, 7 yards. He still breaks out of tackles. He doesn't have the breakaway speed. Mind you, he never had it in the first place. Let me put it that way. He never had it in the first place. But you just kind of see like the hits have been getting to David Montgomery slowly but surely, because he's been the running back for the last 3-4 years.
Yep. And he even said last week, he's like, when Justin Fields was getting those hits as he's running, right? Like he's like, wow, I take those hits. He's taking those hits and I take those hits. Real quick, I do just want to say hello to JST Killer coming from the EAFP podcast. What's up, man? Thank you for tuning in. Jack, what do you think?
I don't know. I still think, given the fact of all the money and the picks that they will have, I still think they're at least a year more of a rebuild away. I just don't think they can kind of flip the switch overnight in an off season on what this team needs, because I think it needs, just because we're talking about a running back and an O-line, they need a whole complete revamp of the defense as well. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But with Montgomery, yes, he's 4 years in, life expectancy of a running back. What I think most guys are out of the league by
it's roughly around that time, like 3 to 4 or 5 years is roughly. I mean, there's perfect examples. Todd Gurley, he's no longer in the league. He's only 27, 28, right? You see the downfall of Ezekiel Elliott after he got paid, right?
Well, Elliott's in the league for now since 2016, so it's 7 years now. So
who just got cut by the Broncos?
Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon, but just signed with Kansas City, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, and he's what, 28? Guys hit like something 27, like that, 28, and they're just they're done. You know what I mean? Unless you're like a Derrick Henry or an Eckler or even a CMC. Like I don't. Those guys are even going to get like another big contract, right? So
I mean, you could even go far back with Chris Johnson too as well, another running back that was electric and kind of fell off after those big yardage that he had.
He had 2,000-yard seasons.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, just
crazy.
John, I gotta show this comment. NFL's treating these running backs like Leonardo DiCaprio treats his women.
Nothing over 25, baby.
Hey, at least they're making it to almost 30 years old before they're like, get out of here, right?
This is true.
Leo cuts him off at 25 and 1 minute. So
if you could re-sign, like I think Montgomery's not dumb. I think he knows where the market will be when his time comes. If you could re-sign him on a team-friendly deal, I say do it. I get it. I agree with Eric with him slowing down, but again, that's why you have Khalil Herbert. That 1-2 punch, he's not He's not putting a lot of tread on his tires. It's dynamic. It's something that this team can literally rely on week in and week out.
Yeah, but even given that 1-2 punch, I mean, can't you find another 1-2 punch?
You
with
can.
Khalil Herbert and somebody else where you really don't have to pay that money. I mean,
I get it, but I like Montgomery though. I like Montgomery. I personally, I like him.
Don't get me wrong. I have him in like
same.
3 of my fantasy football leagues this year, and one of them I decided to bench him, and it worked out for me fine because I had Miles Sanders. But that's another story for another podcast, and I digress. But question to you guys though. You talk about team-friendly home discount. What's a team-friendly home discount contract to you guys for David Montgomery?
Well, I was wondering the same thing. I don't know what the value of a guy that's a good running back. I think, if he had a good running line, like maybe he's I don't think any of the four of us would say he's an elite running back in this league.
But he does have a good running line. If there's anything that the Bears' offensive line does great, is run blocking. So
and he's a good running back.
Lanes. It's just he doesn't have that takeoff speed that we want these
he doesn't
rival
have the
receivers to have.
separation speed that you saw with Cohen. You saw with
that you see now with Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert, yep. He's more of like he gets his yardage by breaking tackles. That's what he does. And
exactly. He's a bruiser.
And exactly. And I don't know. Again, like team-friendly deal, I don't know what that would look like. I don't know if Montgomery would go for it. Does he love Chicago? I'm sure he does. I'm sure he loves being able to be the starter for the team that drafted him, right? And being as consistent as he has been. Will he go for a team-friendly deal? You've seen players not do that. But you've also seen running backs, like John said, just get thrown away because it's like, well, we're not going to pay running backs because we can draft them in the 6th, 7th round and they can be starters that same season. So I don't know what that looks like. I did want a team-friendly deal from John. Says 2 years, 24. That's not
team-friendly. That's paying him $12 million a year.
That's already a fifth of what the Bears have in cap space, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Team-friendly, you don't crack double digits. You probably crack the highest you kind of crack in team-friendly is $8 million at the most, $8.5 million at the most.
Would you do it? Would you sign up for $8 million 2 years?
I would do it for 7.
What's that $1 million? Come on, Eric. What's that $1 million
for 7? Think about it. It's not just $1 million.
I 100% would do it for $8 million for 2 years.
I'm gonna pull a Jerry Reinsdorf and sign him for 7.9.
Yeah, do it.
7.95.
You guys are right. You guys are right. I just personally like Montgomery. I would love for him to stay for that. If we could keep him at a cheaper deal, I get it. But I agree. I do agree. I do agree with you guys that you can't plug and place as anybody. Look how Deion Jackson was the week Jonathan Taylor was out. You don't even see him. You don't even see him running anymore for the Colts. But that year that week he went off.
Yeah,
it's crazy how these running backs can just literally just be replaced like it's nothing.
Yep.
I have some sons. If they're gonna play football, I'm like, no running back. You are not playing running back whatsoever.
Christian already looks like a guard coming.
I swear to God.
I mean, I think you should get him in soccer. I mean, soccer's paying a lot of money right now. MLS is they're paying a lot of money. I think.
Well, 1, you're not European. 2, you're not really that much of a star. So the money is not really that luxurious. If you're just a homegrown United States citizen.
True. All right. Another thing I was kind of like, this game was bad, right? But one of the good things I guess that came out of this, Jack Sanborn looks really good since being put as a starter at Packer. He again had double-digit tackles, 10 solo. Armin Watts had 3 tackles and is the only sack for the game. But the defense still gave up almost 500 yards of offense.
They're more athletic than you right now. I'll give you that much.
Wow.
That's a shot.
I'll take John with GBS over you any day.
Yikes. Oh my God. Savage. I love it. What are we thinking about this? Jack Sanborn, is he a future starter at all? I mean, he looks good. He's
proven it already, right?
I think so.
I mean, he's producing Roquan Smith-esque type of numbers with the tackles.
That's a lot coming from you too. That is a lot.
And it's kind of like the only thing that we're just missing is just a little bit of the tackles for loss and a sack and an interception here and there. Yeah. But from a guy who was undrafted, from a guy who made it, started from the bottom and now he's there type of thing. It is a blessing in disguise for the Bears to find such a very rare hidden talent in him. He's just a football guy. I think they said it yesterday too on the show on the broadcast. Jack Sanborn is a football guy, and maybe just he's playing with a little bit more motivation simply because he is playing for his hometown Chicago Bears at that too as well. So he looks like a linebacker from like the Ditka times or the what's, oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name, Butkus times. That's what he, like, you just take a look at him, you're like, this guy wants to hit somebody at all times. He just looks like him. I don't know, Jack, how you feeling about Jack Sanborn, how he's doing?
I've been, pleasantly surprised by the production numbers. I think you look at this defense and there's not much that's positive about it. So I'm not sold to say he's there quite yet. I mean, the fact is he has to make the fucking tackles. I mean,
he's the only one who's making them.
He's the only one that's able to carry and drag someone down. And so, kudos to him for that. I don't know, not too much of an opinion at this point on Sanborn, but glad to know the hometown cheap talent is kind of working out right now. And if it ends up being a fit for the future, great. So be it.
Yeah.
It's one less piece to check off on the defense.
Jose, how you feeling about him?
I like Jack Sanborn, man. I do. That is making the most of what's given to you right there. And I'm a huge fan of the kid. Kudos for this regime getting him in this team. It pays great dividends. It makes me feel a little bit better about Ryan Poles, talent evaluator as a talent evaluator, because he has a big test this next season. I mean, we already mentioned it. Yep. With the high draft pick, with all that cap space, I really want to see what he's able to do. And seeing him sign someone like Jack Sanborn on this team, it makes me feel pretty good. So
it gives you hope.
It really does. So I like him. I like him a lot for sure.
Eric, I'm going to ask you the question I asked these guys earlier. Bears have a top 3-4 pick
right now. Are you?
2. What's up?
Right now, they're number 2. They're picking 2 in this draft.
No. I know. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the season, let's say they have a top 3 or 4, or let's just say top 5, right? Just to call it. Do you try to trade back to get a haul from a team, or do you pick somebody at whatever position they're at top 5?
That's a great question. And honestly, I could see both of them play out the way they do. Like, I could see it.
Jack's going to trade the pick. Jose wants to pick somebody at that position. So,
I mean, let's just pick hypothetically. Let's just say they're within, let's say 2, right? Let's say they're number 2. They're at where they're at right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say you keep that pick and you get the defensive edge from Alabama or from Georgia. Anybody that goes sack
Williamson
that gets to the quarterback, simply because that's a position in need that the Bears have. And like I mentioned before, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. If you get that type of player, your defense will be a lot more better. You have somebody that will go and get the quarterback, and somebody to focus on one side of the ball that will open up everybody else from Campbell to and everybody else that's on that defensive line, because you can't even name anybody right now at the moment because nobody has actually done anything to say so. But
real quick, Eric, the guy you're talking about is Will Anderson Jr., and they're comparing him. They're comparing him, right? It's early, but they're comparing him to the likes of Chase Young and Nick Bosa.
There you go. See,
that type of player.
And you wouldn't. But if you really want to have an overhaul and have a lot of young players and have a lot of draft capital and trading back for it, and somebody will trade for one of those top picks for a quarterback and get that haul and have these young players coming up. And now that we've seen that Ryan Poles knows how to evaluate players, maybe just maybe trading back isn't such a bad idea. And maybe just maybe you still get that same player that you were going to get if you were in the number 2 pick, because it has happened before, and it will, and it can happen for the Chicago Bears. So at the moment, right now, I would keep the pick, but I'll have that in the back of my head. I'm like, maybe trading it won't be that bad.
And that's kind of my sentiment too, because I'm thinking, like, Poles has to evaluate all his options right now. should he pick if they stay at number 2? Because I hope the Bears aren't worse than Houston at the end of the season. But if they stay number 2, should he pick somebody? Should he get like just a massive amount of players from a team who really needs a quarterback? The options are there, and a lot of teams that are in need of a quarterback in this quarterback heavy draft are just like, I'm ready to throw whatever we need to at the Bears right now to get that number 2 pick, if that's what it is at the end of the season. So yeah, I'm kind of glad we're on the same page. Jack wants to trade it. Jose wants to keep it.
I'm on the fence. Put me on the fence. I'm on the fence.
Same. Yeah. Like I'm on the fence. I'm like, let's see what it really is at the end of the season. And then we'll kind of evaluate from there.
Let somebody get their Mitchell Trubisky like the Bears did a couple years back and trading all those picks for that bum ass quarterback that's no longer here. We could have had Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson. I would say Deshaun Watson over Patrick Mahomes at that time. Yeah, like 11 out of 10 times. I'm not. I was gonna say,
is Ryan Pace on any team right now? Can we swindle him into giving us? I want to
say he's in New Orleans or something right now.
Is he back with the
financial? He's like a scout. I thought he was a scout.
Maybe he's a scout.
Same shit.
Something like that.
They had to demote him. All right, looking ahead to week 13, the Bears host the Packers. Who knows if it's going to be Peterman? Who knows if it's going to be Siemian? Who knows if Justin Fields wants to actually suit up and play? We've seen the Packers defense. They don't look really like menacing like the Jets did. What are your predictions for this game? I'll start off with Tony Football. Eric hates it.
Usually Bears-Packers rivalry should get you hyped up. These past couple of years, there hasn't been much of a rivalry. The Packers, literally, like Aaron Rodgers said last year, they've been owning us, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as excited as I should be, only because we know where this team is. We know what this team, it's like, how can I say this? Both teams suck right now. if you want to know what gets me excited between the Bears and Packers rivalry? I want the Packers to be their best. I want us with Justin Fields to be at their best, and I want us to whoop their ass. I don't want Justin Fields to go out there and to whoop a bad Packers team. Although the Packers have been doing it for us our entire lives, I don't want to see that. I want to beat them when Aaron Rodgers is legit. Heel thumb, a good wide receiver to throw to. I don't care. I want no excuses. I want to pound the Packers literally at their best. But we can't do that. We can't do that right now. So it's like I'm going to be watching it because I have to, but I'm not as excited as I should be, guys.
So you got them losing?
No. Yeah, I do. If Justin Fields is not playing, the Packers. Do you see what against the Eagles put up 30-something points yesterday? Absolutely, we're losing. If Justin Fields doesn't play, we're losing. If Fields plays, I give the Bears a shot, but it's not an advantage. You know what I mean? It's a slim chance.
Jack. A rivalry is a rivalry. A Fields victory over Green Bay is a Fields victory over Green Bay. You take that any day of the week. Absolutely. No matter if Green Bay's weaker than not. We've sucked for the last, an eternity. So, the fact is I'll take any win versus them any day of the week. I think Eric would say if he's middle of the table and he had the chance to be Man United, who's at the bottom of the table, it's still as satisfying as it would be.
Kick them to the ground. That's what I was thinking.
So I know that, and I think no matter what, you still want to beat your rivals. There's no question about that. But that being said, I don't know if Fields plays in this one. I do agree with Jose that really is a huge factor on predicting the score of it. But I'll still be the negative Nancy and say either way they lose this game. And I'm thinking he's not going to start, and it's going to be another Green Bay beatdown of the Chicago Bears.
Eric, what are you thinking?
All right, guys, look, Justin Fields is playing this week. If there's any game this season that we want to get a W, is Justin Fields playing against the Packers and beating them. Look, this is the first time that we could probably even say that the turn of the tide of Justin Fields and beating the Green Bay Packers and the Packers not having a quarterback. But we really need to see if this Jordan Love guy that they drafted in the first round pick a couple years back is really up to par to compete with Aaron Rodgers. I guess not, since he's the backup. But even then, so I digress with that conversation. This is the time where you need to beat the Green Bay Packers. And if you really want to take the North, you beat the Packers at any position that you want. If there's a last win, if there's one more win in this Bears schedule, it is this Sunday at Soldier Field. I don't care who it is. Justin Fields really, if he plays, and he's going to play, and they need him out there. If he's going to play, this is where you say to the Green Bay Packers, guess what, guys? You ain't taking this over no more. We are running. We may be this year, but next year and years to come, you ain't gonna. It's not gonna be as easy as a walkthrough that you guys have been having it for the last couple years. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. I'm not
putting Justin Fields out there just to beat the Packers.
You don't deserve the name Tony Football.
I am not putting Justin Fields out there just to beat the Packers, Eric. I'm not.
And playing in this
I'm not doing it.
And taking over this division starting from this game on next year. This year's a wash. I don't care what it is. But you beat the Green Bay Packers no matter what. I don't care if the Bears go 2-17 or whatever the record made is. If there's only 2 games that the Bears win is against the Green Bay Packers, I'll take that, and I'll take that running away with it.
You better do it. You better do it with Trevor Siemian because you're not putting Justin Fields out there just to play the Packers. Right. Makes no sense.
They have a bye in that following week.
I don't care.
Difference?
I love it though. I gotta say I love it because Eric's right. 2 wins in a season, and they're both against the Packers. I love that season. I don't care who it is either. Like, this is the rivalry. Look, I don't want Justin Fields to play as much as you, Mr. Tony Football. I'm going to keep saying that to piss off Eric. Mr. Tony Football. I don't want him to play either.
Because it's false.
But it's true. I still want the Bears to win. You know, like if we beat them at their best and our best, yes, that's an even sweeter win because it means that the tides are turning for the Bears. They're going to beat the Packers. You know, this is
such a meat-headed take, Rick. It's such a meat-headed. It reminds me of when Eric and John were both saying they wanted the Bears to make the playoffs when we all knew damn well they weren't going to do shit in the playoffs. But what's the point?
But there's no point. Fans for so long that this feels sweet. No matter what, this is a sweet win. Again, is it with Trevor Siemian or Nathan Peterman? Okay. Do I want Justin Fields to play, even though the Packers defense isn't very good? I still don't want him to get in the game because I know he's a tough guy. He's a competitor, and he's going to want to run. He's going to want to win the game himself with his legs, with his arm, however he does it. I want to win against the Packers. And like Eric said, if there's one more win this year and it's against the Packers, I love it. But I still don't want Justin Fields to play. I want him to take these next 3 weeks off and come back after the bye, if he's healthy, to possibly play the last bit of the season. I'll take the win against the Packers. I have them. Oh, as far as predictions, I don't know. This is a tough one. It depends who's up. It really depends who's up at quarterback. Is it Peterman? Is it Siemian? Is it Fields? If it's Fields, we have a great chance. If it's not, I think it's a loss. I think it's kind of a loss either way, just because our defense sucks. Our defense is bad, and with the injuries to Jackson,
it's Jordan Love that's going to play, guys. Come on now.
Are you sure?
Is that confirmed, Eric? Because I'm talking.
I don't know if it's confirmed, but I kind of have a feeling that we might see Jordan Love this week.
If it's Jordan Love, Siemian, I think we have a good chance. I think we have a good chance.
Yeah, no, of course. If it's anybody other than Rodgers, we have a good chance. But if it's Rodgers going out there, we're getting owned again.
But this is true. I mean, even if it's Rodgers and the no offensive powers, whatever it is,
give me Rodgers with a broken thumb, index finger, pinky toe, all that. He's still going to whoop our ass.
He's still going to but he left the game, which is kind of telling to where it's more like he may not play this week.
Yeah.
He'll probably be all drugged up like that one. What was that one game where he got out? It was the Khalil Mack game where he came out of the game and he got all drugged up, and you see his eyes bloodshot red from all the drugs, painkillers, and he came back and took over the game. I mean, if we're gonna see that type of Aaron Rodgers, you could easily that the dude's on meds.
So what's it?
All right,
peyote or whatever. What's it? What do you take?
Ayahuasca.
That's what it was.
Yeah, he needs to go to Cali and do some more ayahuasca before he gets back in next week. All right, well, that was Bears breakdown. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Bears. I don't know. It doesn't look good. Let's go into Hawks talk now. Jack, the Hawks have looked more like what we expected them to look like this season. Take it away with the kind of depressing Hawks right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think going from 1-3 and 3-9 or whatever, 3-10, whatever they're at this point. Team to a 6-11 team, 6-11-4 to be exact, for 16 points. Worst in the Central Division from the Chicago Blackhawks to start this season, or start kind of the midpoint, the stretch towards the to the midpoint of the season at this point. And fact is, they've lost 7 in a row. Goaltending has been pretty spotty in terms of getting into the stats and the nitty gritty of it all. Patty Kane to start this season has only scored 3 goals, 13 assists, which is good numbers, 13 assists wise, but for 16 points, Kane is definitely disappointed with his only 3 tallies on the year. Jonathan Toews leading the team in goals for 8 goals, 5 assists for 13 points, and that's kind of what the 2 veterans are doing for this team. In terms of the goaltender of late, it's been Peter Mrazek, like expected to be. And in terms of the starter, he's gone for a 1-5-1 record for an 8.78 save percentage. Basically in hockey, anything under 900 save percentage is pretty is below average, is what we'll call it. And the fact is, he's allowing over 4 goals a game, which is not good numbers whatsoever. So it's just. The holes are there. It's exactly what you kind of expected from this young team. You're kind of seeing in the last week and a half. I know I was sick last week's episode, so I could get into the kind of the nitty gritty of the Hossa retirement, but I know you guys covered it, and it was emotional to see those guys out there and realize the fact is that this dynasty is over, and things are a long way from looking positive. But
I mean, the draft is what we look forward to at this point, right?
Yeah. No, it's full on tank for the draft. I mean, the fact is they've got the 3rd worst record in the NHL at this point. You got to hope they end up in the lottery with good odds. And if you could escape with the 1 or 2 pick, you're either getting Connor Bedard or Fratelli from Michigan, who's starting to kind of try and put up an argument to throw his name at the potential number 1, but you can definitely catch more of that breakdown as we get closer and closer towards the middle of the season and further into the season on Slotshot, our new hockey podcast. But
go and listen to the first 3 episodes, right? 3 episodes already?
Yep.
Go listen to Slotshot.
No disrespect. I've been calling it Slapshot throughout the last.
It's all right. It's all right. There's no harm in it. It was a little bit of a different name from us. It was actually funny enough. The 3 of us were out in downtown, and we were drinking a little bit, and Ross actually doesn't remember coming up with the name. He came up with the name. His eyes were maybe not necessarily looking me, straight on. So he may not have been the most sober in the world, but.
He's like, no, it was you. You're like, no, it was you.
I was like, no, you came up with the name. So, but no, it's been fun. But unfortunately, reeling her back into the Blackhawks, there's nothing too exciting. I mean, yes, Seth Jones was missed some time with a thumb injury. He has worked his way back into the lineup. Tyler Johnson, he's been out for a while at this point. They're easing him back into action. That should be a little bit more of a balance for this team. I do think they're a better roster than what Arizona has, so I do expect them to finish higher than Arizona, even though they're below them at this point right now. But the fact is, it's going to be a tough few years, and you just got to hope for the draft coming all so soon. But no, in reality, not until like July.
So with what seems to be like the inevitable trade of Toews and Kane, and I know again it's tough to hear, but what do you expect Kyle Davidson to get in return? Are you expecting picks? Are you expecting players? Like what would probably a good return for these guys?
It's helpful in the sense that the Hawks have I think they've made it pretty known that they're willing to take on their remaining the remaining significant number of what's left on his 1-year deal at this point in terms of money. So that kind of helps out teams that are in a cap crunch. I think the NHL only really allows you to take on no more than 50% of the salary. So, that's $8 million for the year. It's going to end up being probably around I don't know how the math of it will break down, but so they'll end up eating a few $1 million. But that kind of allows more teams to be involved in that mix. I still think, even though, like I said, his goal numbers are low, he's a proven guy in the playoffs, and he's a guy that any team in the league would want to add, especially for a long playoff run. And he's a guy that's done it 3 times and it was successful all 3 times. So. The fact is, Kane, even though he's on the slow start, I think his value is still pretty high. I think that would receive a hopeful NHL ready type prospect, and then I would say a high first or whatever first round draft pick for at least that year, if not the following year after that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about a couple episodes earlier. We were like, oh no, the Hawks playing themselves out of a good lottery draft pick, but they have fallen to earth, and it's been a hard fall for the Hawks. 7 in a row loss, like you said. Anything else on the Hawks before we move on?
Not that I got, unless the boys got any questions about it. And Eric, we still.
How you feeling about the preseason, Eric?
Fucking asshole.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Keep to your soccer. Keep to your World Cup. It's been exciting.
You know what? It has. It really has. It's surprising me. I'm not gonna lie. It has been surprising me.
Hey, who would have thought? Argentina losing their opener.
Don't say it. I thought you were going to move on.
I'll say it. No, yeah, absolutely.
No. Don't
fact is probably the El Tri, is that what they call you guys?
Yeah,
El Tri.
Mexico is not going to be coming out of the group stages. What I'm
wow.
We
knew that going in.
I gotta
go.
What?
I'll even one up that. I'm into believing that there's going to be no CONCACAF teams representing in the round of 16 coming out tomorrow, bro.
I'll tell you what. We knew. The thing is, we knew Mexico wasn't going to do anything this year.
But what's doing?
If there's one thing we can say.
What's doing? Wait.
If there's one thing if there's one, like, they're not. Come on, we know they're not going to win a World Cup this year. So it's like, so they're going to get eliminated.
Beyond the point. That's beyond the point.
Come on, it's going to be. No, you go in to win it all, Eric. You go in to win it all. You don't go in to get bounced out the first or second round. You go in to win it all.
No,
it doesn't matter.
You honestly do not understand the significance of the World Cup and how it means to the country.
The more you advance, the more disappointing it is. Is it not?
Countries that are happy to be in it and having 3 games guaranteed.
Go listen to EAFP for all World Cup coverages with Eric.
No,
it sounds like Tony Football. No. Tony Football needs to hop on that.
Tony Football at this time.
And hop on. Tony Football. We'll hop on and we'll talk a little soccer, not football. And
there you go. You tell him, Jack. Tell him.
U.S. win, and then I'll be soaking in the fact that your CONCACAF prediction is going to be wrong, Eric. I'm
not saying it's going to happen, but I would not be surprised if it happens. Is all I'm trying to say.
Don't be the conservative save your ass. Be a
No.
little aggressive.
I'm not.
I'm
definitely not.
Come on, Eric.
I mean, to be honest with you, what have you seen from the United States men's national team so far?
Nothing. They ain't gonna do shit either.
Leading up into the World Cup to make you believe that they're coming out of the group.
Nothing. They ain't doing nothing either.
I get it. Iran got their ass blew out by England where it was supposed to be.
Rick,
right?
I love you. I gotta run, boys. Have a good rest of your episode, Eric. I'll hop on tomorrow's episode of EAFP if I'm.
You should. This is a great conversation.
I would love to see it.
And we'll see if we can talk a little bit more soccer. But Tony Football, I still say trade the pick. I know you disagree with me. Whatever.
Trade the pick.
Go for it. Excited to listen to the rant on what this underperforming Bulls team has performed and produced so far. Exactly. And then Rick, I think you've got my 4-star of the week. So
I do.
Guys, have a good rest of your episode. I left Rick with a little bit of a funny one, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that 4-star of the week. All 4 of you guys have a good night. I will talk to you guys soon. Go Chicago Sports. Peace.
Go Bears.
See ya. All right. Thanks for joining us, Jack. And like he said, let's move on. That was Hawks Talk. Let's move on to C-Red segment. Brought to you by Star 6 Media here on Big League Chicago. If you're watching us live, join us in the comments and we will post it up and have Eric and Tony Football debate and yell at each other for my entertainment. Let's move on to the C-Red segment here. The Bulls underperforming, like Jack said, but what did they do? They beat two of the better teams in the East here. You know, one win at home against the Celtics. Then they go into Milwaukee, beat the Bucks, but then they lose to OKC. They're playing the Jazz right now. But let's kind of talk about it, right? So they win at home against the Celtics. They stopped the Celtics 9-game win streak at home, are now 2-1 against the Celtics this season. They have one more game against the Celtics. So we'll see if it's going to be a 500 or if they can get a 3-1 against them. And just a little bit about the game. They led by 13 at the half, got up to 21 in the third before the Celtics started to come back. They got to within 8. And then after that, it was pretty much Bulls game. So the Bulls ended up winning 121-107. Levine, 8 for 20, 22 points, 5 for 10 from 3. DeRozan, 11 for 24, 28 points, 3 for 3 from 3. And then P. Will with his career high 17 points in this game, going 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. What do you guys think of this Celtics win?
So both Celtics and Bucks, they just fell into a trap game. Every NBA team is gonna go through it. Doesn't matter if you're good or bad. You're gonna have that stretch of games, or at least that one game where you're just gonna fall and get beat. For a team like the Celtics and the Bucks, that's all that is.
Yeah,
you're gonna lose to this is a pro league, and you're gonna go against pro players, so you're gonna get beat every now and then. That's nothing. For the Bulls, it's inconsistency. It's nothing but them just getting lucky, because they have like the Celtics and the Bucks have shown nothing but consistency winning. They can show nothing but inconsistency. They have showed that they can't beat teams when it matters. And then what you've seen against Oklahoma City Thunder is the team that we know that they are. They got lucky between the Bucks and the Celtics, but when it came down to it, when it comes to a team where you have to beat, that's when you show up and you don't. And they just don't. They started off 9-0, and then they just fizzled out and let the Oklahoma City Thunder come back. They went into overtime. DeRozan is the only player in overtime that does anything. And then after that, it's just they just fall. Defensively, they're horrible. And that's just the Bulls team that we have right now. It's bad. It's not good at all. And it just sucks, Rick.
Yeah, and like you said, again, in that win against Milwaukee, the Bucks turned it over 20 times. The Bulls got 17 points off those turnovers. Yeah. And again, they're playing a pro team. The Bucks are playing another pro team in the Bulls, and that's just what's going to happen sometimes.
Yeah,
20 turnovers from the Bucks is pretty careless. And again, letting OKC come back in the fourth quarter with 2.5 remaining to go into OT and then lose. That's rough. And the Thunder bench scored 48 points. And like you said, DeMar's the only guy doing anything at any point in time, really. So you're not impressed with the wins. Eric, nope. Eric, you impressed with any of these wins, the Bucks, Celtics?
No, absolutely not.
absolutely not.
Nothing. Jose hit it on the head. The Bulls are the perfect example of being consistently inconsistent. Trap games, I agree 100%. Like, I mean, going into the game, we would have thought, okay, the Celtics are going to take on the Bulls, do what they need to do, and especially Milwaukee. I would have been okay with these results last year when the Bulls were high and mighty and playing tough and playing hard and actually beating good teams. And no matter what point of the season, I would have been okay with that. I would have been fine. But this season, those wins mean absolutely nothing. I mean, unless if it's somehow, some way, the Bulls make a surge. Getting healthy, make it into the playoffs and compete for the 3, 4, 5, whatever seeds up there.
Yeah.
Then okay. Then these wins that happened meant something. But the Bulls haven't even proven anything that if they're even a playoff contending team. So again, does it mean something? I guess a little bit morality reason. But like Jose said, the game that we saw against Oklahoma City have been the Chicago Bulls literally the first 20 some odd games so far of the season.
Yeah.
So it's like, nothing has really changed my mind. Like every time I see the Bulls and it's just like, like why can't you guys be like this every single week or every single game or every fourth or fifth game?
Yeah.
And then I see the Oklahoma City game and I'm just like, never mind.
It's crazy how like the first half of the season from last year and this year, it's just like the digression.
It's polar opposite.
It's polar up, and like you guys said, consistently inconsistent. They were going up against the Celtics. They were going up against the Bucks last year, and we went into those games. Or at least I know I would see them go into those games and be like, this is going to be a good game, and the Bulls have a really good shot at winning. Now I'm just like, how do they beat the Celtics and the Bucks but lose to the Thunder?
They're completely opposite from last year.
It's
completely
just so bad. But I mean, a couple of the positives, right, that you could kind of take out of this. LaVine scoring 20 plus, and I think all of these games. Well, he scored 18 against Milwaukee. He scored 22 against the Celtics, and then 27 against the Thunder. There's some positives there, and Kobe White came in clutch with some 3-pointers there in that win in Milwaukee. So there's some positives, but overall it's just been kind of a disaster. Consistently inconsistent. I think that's the motto.
Those are not positives. If Zach LaVine goes 0 for no points in overtime against OKC,
yes,
you know that
yes.
I mean, it doesn't mean a single thing. I mean, you if you want to find some positives, I mean, great, you found something, right?
Yeah,
but that really doesn't mean anything if you're still going to get a 0-point performance in overtime when you need your $200 million player to show up in overtime and give you a win.
I agree with Eric.
I'm just saying.
and this was after, that win in against the Celtics. This was after he went 1 for 14, had 4 points, and in the post game was like, I need to be there in the fourth quarter, no matter what my stats were in that game. I am a guy that I believe I could win the game. I don't know how I feel. And then you have Patrick Williams talking about, I think I can be a star. And yeah, he had a career high 17 points, but that's not a star quality stat line, even if it is a career high. So like you said, there's positives, but there's also like not once have I seen Ayo do anything spectacular this season. And we talk about Zach LaVine, I put up that clip. We put up that clip this weekend. Is Zach responsible, or is Zach to blame for this Bulls season? Eric, yes, 100%. Eric was saying, yeah. What happened from January? What was it? January 20th last season into this up until now?
Well,
Lonzo got
last season, yes, but I mean, technically January 20th of this year. So
yeah,
we're still in the calendar
20th,
year.
Yeah, of this year and up until now. You said it. Lonzo got hurt, and we paid Zach $200 million, and it has just gone down from there.
Oh, by the way, you said positives about Zach scoring those amount of points, yet he still wasn't the leading scorer of the team. Just saying, that's what you paid $200 million for a guy who can't be the leading scorer of your team.
In either game, not once in these 3 games was he the leading scorer.
I look, as much as we hear Eric say it a lot, he's right, and I hate to say it, but he is. He is, and it's
Eric Basketball. I'm Eric Hoops over here. Goofy.
I mean,
Eric Hoops. It is.
No,
I'm kidding. I love you, bro. I love
you. You're not Eric anything, right? But you're right. But if you want one thing, Eric, you're right about this take about Zach LaVine. He cannot be paid all this much money and not be your leading scorer and not be. I said one thing. I said it's okay if the Bulls are winning, and let's say DeRozan has 6 to 8 more points more than Zach LaVine. It's okay because that means they're both at least up there, supporting each other and getting a win. I'm okay with that. But because they're losing, because it seems like DeRozan's doing everything himself, that is where the issue lies.
Again, he's doing everything himself again. Let's put that again.
The beginning of last season, they both were the number 2. They were both the scoring duo in the league. They were complimenting each other very well last season. It was the tail end of the season when he got his knee injured, where you started to see him fall off. This season, he's supposed to be healthy. Mm-hmm. He got paid all this money, so there's more expectation for him, and yet there's less results. There's lesser results, and that's where it's not okay. You at least be what you were at the beginning of last season, complimenting DeMar DeRozan and helping this team win games. With wins, that cures everything. That literally cures everything, but they can't do it. And he's a glaring weakness on his team right now.
I mean, you're right on that one. Wins does cure everything, but at least the difference should have been this year. The wins should have been against the better opponent teams, like the ones that they got against the Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, right?
Yeah,
that should. With a better record, that would have cured everything, because if not, it would have just probably been the same storyline from last year. The Bulls are good playing against lower opponents, but struggle against competing teams. If they would have some of those few wins, because like Rick said, they have 2 wins on the Boston Celtics. They have a win on the Milwaukee Bucks. They didn't do that last year. Hell, I think they even got a win against the Philadelphia 76ers, if I'm not mistaken.
And they beat the Miami Heat. So that's what I'm saying. But that's why I'm saying they're polar opposite from last year, where they couldn't beat the better teams last year, but they're beating them this year, but they're losing to the lesser teams, and they're polar opposite. It's like, what is going on here? Pick a lane.
And I don't get it. Yes, but give a few wins, and you're absolutely right. But it's just kind of like, it's depressing, man. It's depressing.
It really is. It's like we wanted you to beat the better teams. Here you are beating the better teams, but you also got to beat these other guys, the team that you're supposed to be better at. Like, come on, it sucks.
It sucks because we and it seems like almost every week of Bulls games has been like, why isn't Zach performing? Why is it like the 200 million comes into mind? And it's like every single week, it's like, how is DeMar outscoring you, dude? I think the biggest issue, and I think, Eric, you said it earlier, Zach is not good in clutch time. He is proven to not be good. DeMar, on the other hand, is amazing. He's great. He scores all the points in overtime. He gets those back-to-back 3-point wins last season, New Year's Eve into New Year's Day, right? Like, he is clutch, but Zach does not seem to be clutch. But he wants to be that guy, but he has not proven it. And like you said, polar opposites. It seemed like almost every game last season, I was expecting at least 25 points from DeMar and Zach, 25 to 30 each. And this time it's just like, well, we're lucky if we get 25 from Zach this season, right? But I think the most important thing for the money is that Zach is not clutch, and he's just has not proven that he's clutch.
No, it's not that he's not. Well, I mean, yeah, he's not clutch, Rick. But you know what it is too, as well. It's the fact that the Bulls, or not the Bulls, but Zach LaVine is not a jump shooter. That's what it is. Yes, he got paid that money to take his shots or everything like that, but Zach LaVine came into this league as a slasher. And yes, some players do come in and prove their jump shot, do this and do that. But Zach LaVine's form as a jump shooter is not a great form. And he wants to be that guy. He wants to be this new age. And I wouldn't mind that, but if he takes better shots, you know what page he needs to take out of? The page of DeMar DeRozan and create a mid-range. I don't care what he is. I know a 3 is more worth than 2s, but if you're constantly scoring 2s and the rest of the league are shooting 3s and they don't make it that well, like if you shoot low 40% as a 3, but you're equivalent as a 50, 60%, close to a 60% shooting team from the mid-range and scoring and getting 2 points and probably going to the hoop, you're more effective that way than shooting 3s.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I'm looking at the box scores. I think I seen the Celtics game. He was 6 for 20. The Bucks game, he's 6 for 17.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling that I know you want to be a shooter, but my guy, you're not a shooter. You're a slasher. You're a guy that needs to go to the hoop, get these contact fouls, get a foul, go to the lane. That's your style of play, my guy.
That's another thing.
Improve your mid-range.
That's another thing. Like, he's not getting these fouls. He's not going to the line enough. I don't like, at least with DeMar, with that mid-range shot that you're talking about, not only is he getting points, not only is he getting 25 plus points every game, he's getting fouled. He's getting his points at the free throw.
At the free throw line.
Like if like you said, he's not the 3-point shooter, right? Like, maybe it'll open it up for Vooch at this point, honestly, him or Kobe White.
But you're absolutely right. And yes, Vooch can occasionally hit those 3s, right? Mm-hmm. But you're right. It opens up the floor for everybody else, because what does everybody do if DeMar and Zach LaVine are crashing the boards and making mid-range shots? What does it create? Open opportunity and open space for everybody that can hit 3-pointers, a la Vucevic, maybe Kobe White here and there, right? Yep. And the occasional, Alex Caruso, maybe even Terry, maybe even, name all the players that are coming out of the bench too as well, Ayo DeSumo. Maybe every once in a while they can have their opportunity, but for a wide open 3, because if I'm not mistaken, I may not be, I know the game of basketball. I haven't played it in a very high level, but I know the game of basketball. But I know it's a lot easier shooting a jump shot with nobody in front of you than with somebody in your face.
Eric Coops.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just saying.
No, 100%. I agree. Jose, I mean, you're Tony Basketball.
That's right. You can tell him, Rick. Tell him, Rick. Rick knows all the nicknames.
You agree with Eric? Like, does Zach LaVine need to take a new approach to his game? Does he need to stop shooting from three to open the floor to another guy? Does Karnisovas need to go into the offseason and get a 3-point shooter, someone who is 100% going to be able to open the floor for both Zach and DeMar these next 3 years?
It won't hurt if he changes his game a little bit. Because Eric is right. He did come into this league more of a slasher, of a dunker, of one of those energy guys type. He wasn't a star when he was first drafted to Minnesota. He was a role player. He developed a jump shot, and because he was already explosive, and you started to see him shoot these threes, and he was getting consistent at it. He is the player that he is today, right? Or at least it's the reason why he was warranted that money that he got, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it wouldn't hurt if he did change it up a little bit. My thing is, if you're Zach LaVine, you need to slow down. Just slow down. The reason why he's jacking up threes and trying to get his box score up is because he's trying to, I guess, fill that. He's trying to show us why he got that money. He's trying to play to that standard. Don't do that. You got the money already. It's yours. It doesn't matter what you, Eric, or I say. It doesn't matter what we say, right? You need to go out there, Zach LaVine. You need to play the way you know how to play. Slow it down. Become more of a slasher again. If that's hurting your knee, then okay, I get it. Then yeah, switch it up. Become that mid-range guy. But he has the skill set to do it. Maybe you know what, DeMar DeRozan, because he's such a reliable option, it's easy for the Bulls to go to him. Yeah. Right. Whenever they're in a pinch, it's easy for him to get to that. I think Zach LaVine needs to be that guy. If he wants to prove anything, if he wants to get his confidence up, he needs to work on being that guy that scores when they need him to score. Look, Derrick Rose in his MVP year. I remember Stacey King in that broadcast. It's MVP time. Whenever it was fourth quarter, everybody in that stadium knew where that ball is going. Everybody.
And they couldn't stop it.
And they couldn't stop it. If you're Zach LaVine, develop a game to where you know where your spots are, to you know what you're great at, and be that guy for the Bulls in the fourth quarter. Even if you play like crap the first three, when it's fourth quarter, when it's MVP time, that's where you need to show up. Especially if you're getting paid that much money.
And that's funny. You say MVP time, he's not even an all-star. So it's kind of like, it's like,
you get what I'm saying though. Time? But because of Derrick Rose, that's MVP time. Fourth quarter, Derrick was legit.
I understand that, and sometimes that's how some players make their names in this league, and I get that. But again, a player like Zach LaVine, who barely cracks the top 30, you need to have a better all-around game,
right? That's what I'm saying.
And if you don't have that, then you're just a regular guy who just got paid, and that's about it. I wouldn't mind. It's not switching up his game. It's going back to his game, guys. It's not switching. It's going back to what Zach LaVine was made of, and that's going to the hoop.
But you're asking him. But you're asking him to do something that he may not be able to do anymore, Eric. That's the issue. Remember, the reason why he got his ACL tear in the first place because he was playing at that level, same as Derrick Rose was.
Yes, but to counter that, even after him tearing his ACL, I almost got a cramp on my hamstring. Even
Eric is about to go down.
That's what he was still doing, Jose.
No, afterwards, the reason
contest, bro.
No, after the ACL tear, but after the ACL tear, that's when he started to develop a jump shot because he knew he couldn't play the same way anymore.
Okay, but with the jump shot but you can still have that same game and yet still create your jump shot. You can still be you and still go and still broaden up your game. He just broadened up his game just for the sake of it, just to see if it works, and it hasn't yet since he's been here.
Like I said, he needs to slow it down. I think me and Eric are both basically saying the same thing. But what needs to happen is he needs to see it for himself, and he needs to slow it down and not just take illegitimate shots just because he thinks he can. Just because you make Kevin Durant money doesn't mean you're Kevin Durant, like LaVine. Don't do that to yourself.
Yo, this cramp
could you
hurt.
Can you imagine?
That's karma for you, right?
Could you imagine if he was a Kevin Durant type player? Oh my god, that would be great.
Supposed to be.
But looking at the playoffs last year, double teaming DeMar in the mid range, right? If they both develop that, you can't double team both of them in the mid range. Can you imagine just DeMar trying to go in the mid range, gets double team, bam, pass it off to Zach, quick 2. There you go. There, like that. That's kind of what, like you said, that's where he has to develop his game. That's where he has to slow it down, realize that. And I think maybe it has to do with that ACL.
I don't know
where he doesn't. You don't think so?
No, because the thing is, if we're all asking Zach to switch up his game, if Zach can't see that, you know who else is? You know who is supposed to see that? The coach.
The coach.
The coach. And I seriously think the coach is the issue. Believe it or not,
really?
I don't think Billy Donovan is that guy. I don't think he's the guy. You have talent on this team. He needs to be. I guess Zach LaVine is the star, the player. But if your coach, Zach, this isn't working, you need to switch it up. You need to be that voice in his ear. And if he can't do that, then he can't be here.
I don't want to disagree with you, but I mean, I don't want to agree with you, but I also don't want to disagree with you either, because it's kind of like you're going somewhere and you're right, but it's kind of like it's still not ready for that development of, is Billy Donovan the right coach for this job?
It's getting there.
But again, you're not right. But you don't sound wrong either.
Eric's like, God,
it's schematic. It's schematics. Because it's not just LaVine. It's where you put Vooch on the floor. It's how you're developing Patrick Williams. You have younger guys like Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu and Dalen Terry, guys who can be developed. But you gotta have you gotta cater to their strengths. And right now, the way they're playing is not doing that for either one of the guys I just mentioned.
But the real problem is the real root of this problem is, though, even though Billy Donovan can't find these players in the right place, I don't think the players know what is their right place outside of DeMar DeRozan, because we know from inside in, from the mid range on in, DeMar DeRozan is a beast.
Yep.
But Vooch is a center that wants to shoot. Zach LaVine is a slasher that wants to shoot. Ayo Dosunmu is a player that we still don't know who he really is.
Yeah.
We could say the same thing about Patrick Williams too, as well. We kind of don't know what kind of player he is. It's kind of like you're right, Jose, but there's more to it. It's the players. It's the players too as well.
You can't be faithful and unfaithful. You got to be one or the other. Okay, I'm right. You can't be right and wrong, Eric. I'm right.
I don't know, man. Right. I just, again, Christmas. Give it to the new year, and we will see this Bulls team for what they really are. And it's kind of like I want to be there with you, but I see these players and not knowing what they really are as basketball players. Is Vooch going to be inside out? Is he going to be inside? Because he's dominant going inside.
It's all coaching,
we just know
buddy.
He can't defend.
It's all
he's
coaching.
Dominant going inside. He can get you double doubles. He can hit you the occasional 3. But it seems more he likes to be more on the outside and not be that physical guy and the down low.
He does not. Yeah, he does not want to be physical at all. Like you saw that last season too, and he's getting a little bit better, but I mean he's still not that guy. He's not a Joakim Noah.
It's like,
but it's all coaching. That's all coaching. You can't expect the players to come in and want to do what they want to do. You gotta be coach. Get someone like Greg Popovich. You're not gonna want to play the style that you want. He's not gonna allow you to. He's gonna make you play the style he wants you to, that he thinks you're best for, and that's what they need. They need that type of structure in that lineup.
Yeah, but also at the same time, like you say, you kind of have to not cater to the players, but you kind of players kind of have to like.
You cater to your star players, Eric. The superstar players you cater to. You cater to LeBron James and Cleveland Cavaliers.
In that case, then everybody
you cater to Kevin Durant and Golden State or Oklahoma City Thunder. You don't cater to anybody on this team. Not one player.
You don't cater to anybody. This team has nobody to legit listen, but if they don't, then it's a player issue instead of a coaching issue.
It's both.
Yeah, I would agree.
If the coach can't do that, then who else?
I'm starting to be a believer, and that's why you're Tony Basketball, man. You got all the
Rick,
right stuff.
Tell him, Rick.
How is it Tony Basketball if you literally almost agree with everything that I just said?
No, you agree with me, buddy.
But that's why you're Eric Hoops.
Right, Eric Hoops and Tony Basketball. There you go. The Hoops and Basketball podcast. That's coming up.
Oh, all right. Well, that was actually one more question. What's up with Caruso? I feel like he is a leader on this team, but he's coming off the bench. I mean, is it is it like time to maybe start him over Io, or is it okay him coming off the bench? What do you guys think about that?
There's a reason for it. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
I would try it. But I think the reason why they have Caruso coming off the bench is because they know that second unit needs somebody like him. You can't play the entire game. So it's like so then you kind of they know, okay, if we're going to start off, I would assume at least we have DeRozan, Levine, Vooch there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's a younger guy, but you can't have him leading the secondary unit when at least that unit needs somebody like Caruso to run the offense. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Yeah,
But
I know that's probably the main reason why. But even then, I mean, you still have a player like an Andre Drummond that could probably fill in that Alex Caruso role too as well.
Yeah.
It may not be the same Energizer bunny on defensive end who can play both roles on that one, but at least it's a guy who's been a multiple All-Star, who's been around the league very well and knows the game as well as Alex Caruso does too. It's just, I mean, I'd rather have Alex Caruso on the second squad than I do in the starting lineup. Because no matter what, even if you do start Alex Caruso, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say Lonzo Ball comes back. It's still going to be the same thing. He's still going to rely going back to the bench anyways, regardless of the fact. But it's a wrinkle that I would try, though. I'm not going to lie. It's a wrinkle that I would try just to see how it works, but I know it's going to end in disaster.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I think, too. I think it's worth a try. I think it's worth a try to get him out there with the starters, but like you guys said, it's like he needs to lead it, and for Dragic can also kind of lead it, or Drummond, right? Like they have that veteran presence come off, but I just figured, like, why not try it? Io has been kind of very underwhelming so far, so why not try with Caruso? So,
hey guys, quick question.
You guys got anything on the Bulls? Or I'm sorry, did you have a quick question? You said, Eric?
Yeah, but go ahead. We'll finish the Bulls segment, then I'll give you guys the question.
All right, yeah. You guys got anything else on the Bulls? Nope. All right, Eric, go ahead.
They're not making the playoffs.
That's kind of what it's looking like.
That's more of a statement. I don't know if that's a question, but it's more of a statement.
It was a statement. They're not making the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs?
Can they make the playoffs?
I agree. Right, the way they're playing right now, hell no, they're not making the playoffs. Not one bit.
No way.
No way.
All right, Eric, what is your question? Eric Hoops with
the
question.
No, that was it, wasn't it? But the thing is, but real quick though, believe it or not, I won't be surprised if they turn it around and maybe make a push towards the playoffs, because they do have the talent to do it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I'm just maybe I'm just toxic. I don't know. I've been told
it is.
You just can't let go.
No, the thing is, they have enough talent to do it.
Yeah,
they got to get their heads out their own ass. Basically, that's it.
I want to say the only reason why we still believe, or at least I still believe, is just depending on the impact that Lonzo Ball brings with this team. Because remember when Lonzo Ball was in this team, the Bulls were what last year?
They were number one in the East.
They were the number one team in the East for a reason, because Lonzo Ball gave that team the offense efficiency to be that team that was in first place. So I get where Jose's coming from, but at the moment right now, I don't think they're making the playoffs, even with Lonzo coming back.
Yeah, I agree. Eric, what is the question?
Oh yeah, the question.
They were like, hello.
My bad. When do you stop eating chicken when it turns too cold? Because I had this chicken for the EAFP podcast, and I got into the podcast that I forgot that I had food down here, and it's literally a whole chicken. Like how cold does it have to be before it goes bad?
Freezing cold, I think.
I've ran my fair share of restaurants, right? So I do have my food handlers, my Surf Safe, right, which expires next year, believe it or not. So after it's cooked and it loses the temp that it's supposed to be at, right, it does start to develop bacteria. So
let's just put it like it was cooked yesterday, and then I reheated it in the microwave, and then I ate a little bit during the podcast, and now it's cold. Like, is it still good to eat, or salmonella is waiting to happen?
How cold? Like cold to the touch?
No. So I just let it just like sit here during the podcast, and it just cooled down.
No, you're fine. If it was cooked yesterday but refrigerated overnight, you should be fine. But if you leave it out for hours, then there might be an issue.
No. I'm just saying because, like I said,
newborn illnesses are legit.
No. I reheated it. It's just I just let it sit out again, getting it cold the way it is right now, and I am in this situation right now to whether or not if I should eat this again or not.
No, you're fine. You won't get chicken COVID. It's good.
Chicken COVID.
Let's move on from the Sea Red segment into our final segment of the show. Let's go into 4 stars of the week. Jose, hit that overlay.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Oh yeah, and Jose's gone. I'm gonna read Jack's real
this
quick.
This has been the best part of the podcast so far. Him being gone.
So we know what we know what Eric's star of the week. It's going to the overlay.
Yeah, boy, taste that chicken.
So I'm gonna read.
It's going to this chicken. That's what it's going to.
I gotta make these overlays smaller. I didn't realize how big they were.
Yeah. Oh, no. It looks good though. It does look good.
It's nice. Good job. Who did that? You, Jose?
You know it, man. Come on, brother. No, I surprise.
Yeah, Tony Overlay. Tony Overlay.
Tony Overlay, yes. Tony Overlay. Thank you.
I like it. You just kind of need to switch out that last player to the left. And
no. Look, there's nobody in the Cubs worth putting on there right now.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, no, you're right.
Maybe did I just see a Joe Alonso sighting on WWE SmackDown? What?
I'm gonna read Jack's first star of the week. He said it's going to go to Trevor Siemian's oblique and not having to put Bears fans through 4 quarters of Nathan Peterman trying to break his own record for most interceptions in a game. So shout out. First star of the week goes to Siemian's oblique for feeling a little bit better after warm-ups.
That's a good one.
I like it. Jose, who you got for the second star of the week?
Second star of the week. Oof. I always, every week so far I've been going with Justin Fields. Now I can't be going with Justin Fields because he hasn't been playing.
Well, I mean, you can if you want to predict.
But I got one.
Future, knowing that that without Justin Fields, this Bears team they finally have their quarterback. So it's kind of like
I got one. Now. But I got one. My second star of the week goes to Jose Abreu for finally leaving that wretched team, the Chicago White Sox, and going to a winner, to an absolute champion in the Houston Astros. Jose Abreu, you've done the smartest thing anybody could ever do, and you left. You're gone. You got out of there. You got out of the White Sox organization. You got out of that toxicity. He knew they weren't going anywhere. He gave up on the team. And if Jose Abreu gave up on the team, a guy who's been there through the darkest times and what should have been the lighter times, if he got out of there, then you should too, Sox fans. Get out while you still can. Go Cubs, go. No. Let's go, Eric. What's your third star, baby? Let's go.
I think we should just end it there, bro, because I don't think my star can just I don't think it doesn't even matter at this point.
Only 4-star, baby.
I should have gone with Tony Baseball last because that was too good.
No, look, there's one thing I'll never be called as Tony Baseball, and I'm okay with it. Okay? I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to top that one because you're right. Apparently they like to celebrate a guy who wins an MVP for 60 games instead of 162. But I digress on that part too as well.
Oh no, Jack and John are gonna.
I know. I just don't like the fact that neither of the Sox guys are here for me to hear to say that. But
I would have said it to their face though.
They're in a better position than the Cubs right now, but whatever the case may be. So you guys know, for the last couple weeks, I've been shouting out, my community college going for the girls for the national team. And last week I shout out, our rival community college, our rivals that went on there, but. I gotta congratulate them again. They're my star. They won nationals. They won the whole thing last week in Arizona. The only reason why is because one of my close friends, one of my close soccer buddies, he's the coach of the team, and he's from the same area that I grew up in. So, hey, shout out to Carlos Victor, who's the goalie coach as well. They won the whole thing last week. Congratulations to them. I'm going to reach out to them, see if they want to hop on, him and my coach, for the EAFP podcast and talk a little football in their journey. So we'll go over with that one right there. So my Prairie State College guys, congratulations on winning nationals.
Love it. Good for them. Congratulations to them. Hopefully they hop on that EAFP podcast, talk some soccer with you. All right. last star of the week, and I'm kind of torn, but I think I'm going to go with Montgomery on this one. David Montgomery gets the 4th star of the week for his just the toughness that he continues to show week in, week out for the Bears team, who is struggling right now. Obviously we see Justin Fields and how he's going to be the quarterback of the future, but we still got to give props to what Monty's been doing the last 4 or 5 years on this team. And he's still the same guy that he was his rookie year when he was, playing in games. He's still just shedding tackles, getting yards, getting in the end zone. So 4th star of the week goes to him for his performance. I was torn between him and Sanborn, but I just another tough game from Dave Montgomery, and I need to recognize him for it. So 4th star of the week goes to Dave Montgomery for sure.
Not bad. Just Jose got the best one on all of us, though. I'm not gonna lie. That one was a good one. Now, like I said, it was hard to top that one. You should have saved it for last if you knew he was gonna go with that one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna rate which one's the best one. Keep it as the 4th one for sure.
Keep the best for last for sure. I'll give credit where credit's due. Good job, Jose. Good job.
Tony baseball.
No, definitely not, bro. Definitely not that one.
24 star, baby.
Tony 4-star. I love that. All right, boys. You guys got anything else for this week's episode of Big League Chicago before we sign off out of here?
No.
The Bears are gonna beat the Packers. I'm gonna say that right now. If Justin Fields play, Bears are gonna beat the Packers.
I love it. Well, you guys got Eric's prediction for it. Thank you guys for joining us on Big League Chicago, brought to you by Star 6 Media. Also, we've got a bunch of other podcasts. Go check out EAFP with Eric. He's going over all the World Cup action on the daily. Go check out Only Football. Stay tuned for Only Football, actually, while me and Kyle finish off this Monday night game as a live stream and talk about what week was it, 12? 12 what's happening in week 12. Stay tuned for JCA Sports on Wednesday. Sports Strip Live. You got Jose and his brother Ricky going over WWE, UFC, all the bloody sports you guys love. And then stay tuned later this week as well for 3 Up, 3 Down and Slot Shot Hockey Podcast with Alex, Ross, and Jack. We've got all the shows. We not Slap Shot, Slot Shot.
They should have called it 5-hole. That would have been easier to remember.
Oh, the five hole would have been good. We're gonna create another one. We're gonna rival theirs. So thank you guys for joining us. Go check out all the other
shortest podcast in this damn media production for sure. Going 5-hole. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. All right, guys. Yeah. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks. See ya. Hockey's cool. Bye.
What did Chance the Rapper say? Like they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when he's on Saturday Night Live. I love it. But yeah, go check out all the podcasts, live streams. Go check us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, hit that subscribe button on Twitch, Facebook. We're everywhere. I think we're gonna get a Twitter here soon. So I've put in the paperwork with Twitter and Elon Musk. And we're going to get a company Tesla as well. So go check us out there and everything.
That means we got to pay for that blue check mark, don't we know?
Hey, we don't get it.
I know. But
we're going to get that blue check mark.
Imagine how cool it would be to have like a Star 6 Media blue check mark Twitter account. Though.
That'd be pay for it.
I mean, $2 out of everybody. It's not that bad, right?
That's not that bad. No, it's not that bad. Elon, you son of a bitch. But all right. Well, we will see you guys next time. See ya.